Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there, welcome back.
Guys, before we get started, we just wanted to make another announcement. We had a problem with our phone, and basically it was shot. So we got a new phone, and the contacts didn't transfer over cleanly. So those of you who might have not gotten a message from us, it's because we don't have your number anymore.
And also there's an issue with the engineering of everything. So even if you do text us and we don't get it, please, I don't respond, please shoot us an email with your number so that we can figure out a way to contact you. So we're so sorry for anyone that we've missed. But please, it's really important if we don't get right back to you to shoot us an email with EEARTS@gmail. Okay.
No.
Okay.
It's EEARTS@protonmail.com or Evolutionaryenergyarts@gmail.com. Again, there are links on every single video for you guys to reach out to us. I'll say it one more time, Evolutionaryenergyarts@gmail.com or EEARTS@protonmail.com. And you can also just reach us by sending us a message through our website, which is evolutionaryenergyarts.com. And I want to do a major update to it sometime when I'm doing like a 5 to 7 day fast and I'm wired. I will update it.
Yes. And just one last thing. If we've worked on you in the past and you have questions about energy work, just shoot me a text. Say, okay, this is so-and-so, so I can add you in so we can take care of that too.
And you can also reach us through Skype. You know, we do Skype. We have Facebook Messenger still hooked up for reaching people that have that as an option. We do WhatsApp. We do Signal as well. Telegram too. And so, you know, we do a lot of basically consultations. We do energy work, chakra clearing, helping with ascension issues. We do Vedic charts, Vedic astrological charts to help people basically understand why they came into this world and what they should be doing as far as the journey of the higher self that the higher self had intended for this particular life. So most of our work time is actually working with people, and that is a far greater portion of our time and our day than the videos actually. So the videos also obviously occupy a lot of our efforts and energy and focus. So if you haven't been able to get a hold of us again, please do reach out via email. Again, it's EEARTS@protonmail.com or Evolutionaryenergyarts@gmail.com. And for those that haven't had sessions with us in the past, you know, typically it's about 10 days to 3 weeks, depending on how busy it is at the moment. But that's typical for getting something scheduled. And now we will go on with the video, as our buddy David will say.
Yes.
Now on with the show, or on with the video.
On with the video.
Okay.
Okay.
And we might as well thank our supporters on Ko-Fi and Patreon as well. So, Denver Ready gives free bug out bags away as part of National Preparedness Month. Why does this stick out? Well, it sticks out because of everything that's going on this month. It feels like this is a massive, massive month of change. Everybody's been looking at this time frame. You know, I think we're still in the full moon, technically, right? We're still one of the 3 days of the full moon going on. And, of course, this month we are going to have the changing of the season. And, boy, oh, man, I was out in the yard today. It felt just amazing. The air was actually crisp air. Oh, it's been a long time since we had crisp air, and it felt just a little bit cool, and my God, that was a welcome change.
It did feel really good. It felt crisp, it felt cool, it was livable. You weren't feeling like you're breathing hot air inside of an oven or drenched in sweat. Yay, it's a new time of year.
But seriously, guys, handing out bug out bags to people en masse, when have you seen that before? When have you seen that before? So, an event being held from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturday aims to get people ready to respond to emergencies as part of National Preparedness Month. Denver Office of Emergency Management is hosting 2 events during September as part of a nationwide campaign that will provide free emergency bug-out bags to anybody in attendance. Those events fall under the Denver Ready Preparedness Program, which is part of the National Preparedness Month movement, the theme of which is protecting your legacy. The life you built is worth protecting. Our office believes bug-out bags will help residents increase their emergency preparedness, which will improve people's overall resilience should they encounter emergency or a disaster. Denver Office of Emergency Management Executive Director Matthew Mueller said, "Wow. Well, thankfully it's not like Denver. Be prepared for the tsunami.
Yeah.
Mile high, that would be really a scary scenario. But still, why? Why this year? Bug-out bags? It's been an interesting time period for sure. New York City Emergency Management, we saw this just a little while ago. A go bag has everything you need in case you need to leave home in a hurry. Every household member should have one, including the kids. Yeah, it's like they were just telling us about, keep that mask on at all times. Stand 6 feet away from everybody. Now it's going to be, don't leave your home without your bug-out bag. Mm-hmm. What will you pack? Non-perishable snacks, bottled water, copies of important documents. For more ideas, nyc.gov. And by the way, remember this? New York City releases PSA for residents in the event of a nuclear attack. And I love that line. Don't ask me how or why. Just know the big one has hit. The unthinkable has happened. What are you going to do? Get the hell out of Dodge is what you're going to do. Get away from 8 million other people that are all going to be scrambling. Yeah, again, timing is everything. This was a 90-second public service announcement that actually had given us a copyright infringement. It was stunning. Mm-hmm. Copyright infringement? This is a public service announcement. Why are you copyright infringing on what?
So I got to tell you, with the guides, when Mike read this to me, what they chimed in, they had to say is, listen to your own actual politicians. They might not spout this information far and wide, but they might be putting out this information as a subtlety with the understanding that they know that something is going on and they simply cannot live with it, but they're not allowed to say anything. So just keep an eye on wherever you live, your politicians, see if they're doing any announcements, and then we'll go from there. And another thing, when it comes to the end of September, very transitional period, we've gotten information from the guides, literally September 21, and that happens to be the International Day of Peace. So that stuck out. And then many of you have also heard about the Vatican calling in their money. And when we were talking about that with someone, the guides were showing me something that looked, well, it was a black heart chakra. So that's not good. I mean, so I just think we all need to kind of brace. Hopefully everything will just blow past. That's what I always hope for, but we should be ready.
Yeah, and so Cindy was talking about this again. Remember, Pope Francis instructs Vatican entities to move all funds to Vatican Bank by September 30th at the latest. I guess the Holy Spirit is telling the Holy See, you better grab onto your holy bucks.
Mm-hmm. And astrologically speaking, I do want to point out, when something is done on a transitional time in the seasons, that's exactly it. That's a transitional time. So whether we're going through that from season to season, or whether you're buying a new house, new car, getting in a relationship, if that's happening on a transitional time on one of these solstices, then that's just a short time period, and things are not going to last. It's just for making changes. And of course, they are so hyper aware of the stars and how they're affected and what they're used for.
Absolutely. So, I think we should most definitely take this serious. We've talked to other people. Like, one of the things that our buddy David Devine, DAP 2030, has recommended is, get silver or gold, and especially silver. because it's going to be used in a lot of the technologies that are just going to become more and more prevalent in our society. And, some sources are expecting silver to go up, not by just even 100 times, but perhaps as much as 1,000 times. That's a tremendous amount. Can you imagine if you had $100 worth of silver, add 4 zeros to that? That's a lot of money. And again, we know BlackRock and Vanguard, they have money in the billions, tens of billions, maybe hundreds of billions allocated to buying up properties when everybody's getting evicted and everybody's getting foreclosed on. This is all so completely planned out. And this is from FEMA. The life you've built is worth protecting. And this is from August 31st of this year. Again, it's talking about September, National Preparedness Month. Having a plan. Secure your financial legacy. I think that again, they got to give us clues. Everything's got to be right in front of us. Could come as a movie, could come on Netflix, or it could come as a notice from FEMA. Could come like Event 201. Could come just like the game playing they did, and then all of a sudden we got monkeypox 1 year later. We got to notice what they're telling us, because they are giving us a heads up, which basically takes away some of the accountability from a karmic point of view, or if you prefer, the law of cause and effect. By the way, massive rail strike next week could deal another blow to America's economy. Yeah, absolutely. Just pile it on. Everything is going to crash. We know it's going to crash. We could see that in the real estate markets. And, I still get, a friend of mine is a realtor in Florida, and they still send me different properties, and it's just a laugh. Like, we could afford to pay the average price that's in that particular zip code where they're living, because it's looking a lot like California's prices, and again, Florida can be very volatile. A lot of people in Florida have second homes in Florida. Maybe a lot of those second homes have become primary homes, and they're ditching their New York home. As New York governor has said, hey, if you lean to the right, take a hike. We don't want you. This is the great divide in so many ways. This is what the guides have been saying. We are getting divided. We are getting divided more than ever. It's part of an intentional divide, and yet it's something that has to come. We were just talking to one of our family members. Hi, Trish.
Hey, Trish.
And she was talking about how, as she works in the health industry, some things are being lessened as far as restrictions and standards. But I've actually seen the inverse happening in some areas with certain companies, that if you did do a certain something, they don't want you because you're more likely to be sick. And we're not going to go into too much detail here because, again, we don't want to lose both channels, which could happen very quickly, in this age. But the insanity continues in Ireland. Visits to the emergency room between January and June 2022. Compared to last year, right? During the peak of the plague upon the land, there was 119,000 visits to the emergency room in 2021. 719,000 this year. Hello. 525% increase. What do you think is going on? I mean, and this is part of why the plug has to be pulled, because they gotta get people looking elsewhere. Think about it. Think about the herd. If the herd's at peace and the herd notices there's a tiny little gap in the fence, and so, they test it. They nudge the gap. Oh, it's starting to get wider. Well, to keep them away from nudging that gap so they could actually open it up and escape, well, the rancher might sick the dogs on them or something else to that effect. You have to have something, get the herd so distracted, so worried, so occupied with basic survival that they don't notice or they forget about some other things that were becoming very, very prominent and a lot of buzz was starting to develop around it in people that perhaps are usually going along with their blinders totally on.
And that's really common, and that's well known. When we are faced with crisis situations, we have knee-jerk reactions. We don't use our thought processes in the same way. So they're very well aware to create fear for the human mind and keep it distracted in that sense. They can pretty much tell us where to go, which way to go, how far to go, because we're looking for safety. We want to be able to step back and really calmly look at things so that we're not being led down the wrong path whenever we see a crisis. That's definitely, that they are up to no good, most likely.
Absolutely. So you guys remember Welcome Back, Kotter? Do you remember Welcome Back, Kotter? Any of you guys? Do you remember Barbarino? That was John Travolta's entry into the big screen, so to speak, into everybody's consciousness and mind. Well, he played this guy that was like a tough guy but kind of dumb. So when they asked him a question, he'd say, "What?" And he would say, "Where?" "Huh?" I mean, he just had no answers for things because he was kind of an idiot. He was kind of simple, kind of below par intelligence, so to speak. Well, he had a friend named Epstein. Oh, and yeah, this painting was actually on a wall of a certain person named Epstein, who is supposedly no longer in this world. Actually, can you get a picture of him? Is he in this world, or is he on the other side? Is he in fourth density?
He's not happy nor content, so I feel like he's not in a good place. To say fourth density, sometimes these beings can do very well, but he feels he's very perturbed, and I would say no, he's not here. That's what I'm leaning toward.
Okay, so he really did take the leap of faith, so to speak.
Again, it's another being that's dealing with karmic consequences.
Okay. Well, when you look at karmic consequences, look at this painting. Obviously, that's the second G.W. Bush president. You have two piles that were representing two towers. And you see one paper airplane has gone in and knocked that tower down, and he's playing with the other paper airplane, and that tower's already down. He's got a little impish smile on his face. I mean, there's probably all sorts of other clues in this picture to, deeper significance of what's going on. But to say again, we just had that 21 year anniversary of 9/11. 01. This is obviously in reference to, again, an Urkel moment. Yep. Did I do that? Well, you might not have done it, but you knew about it. You understood it was going to happen. And I've seen the video of him in the classroom. He was just waiting for the call. You could tell. He's just like, they're going to be telling me any moment something big, and then I got to put on this, oh my God, I got to feign surprise. Yeah, feign surprise, exactly. When you understand that this is all just part of a script, they know it's coming. Again, Project for New American Century in 1997 said it's going to have to take some sort of Pearl Harbor event of a big magnitude in order to get the American public behind going into Iraq and Afghanistan and Syria and other countries as well, including Iran. Obviously, it's all a stage. It's all a show. They know what they're doing. It's all part of a script. How in the world do they show their faces in public? They won't be soon. They only have a couple years at most. And again, if people were able to not be distracted by constant threats to their security and safety and their loved ones' security and safety, I think we would be putting these pieces together a little bit quicker. A lot of us have understood this the entire time, and I would say, again, I woke up in the early 90s, like 92, 93. I all of a sudden understood the bigger picture. even though I always knew there was a whole bunch of things that just didn't make sense. But, I mean, I think this painting says it all, don't you?
It sure speaks quite a lot.
It does. And just like that, we're making oxygen on Mars.
Oh.
Just like that. Boosh. Just like that. Millions of miles away on Mars, in a barren crater just north of the equator, a rover is wandering around carrying a gold-coated gadget the size of a toaster. Gold! I love gold! You remember, what was that? It was one of the minions of Dr. Evil, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Was it Goldfinger? Yeah, that was great stuff. Mike Myers. Love some of his stuff. Anyway, the machine inhales the Martian air, strips away contaminants. It splits the atmospheric gas into its constituent parts, takes what it needs, then reassembles that blend to create something that's in very short supply on Mars. Oxygen, real breathable oxygen. The kind that we just took in as we read this sentence. You know, this says it all. Here you got a little rover that's making oxygen. Don't you think the technology is really there to completely terraform it? Don't you think that we're probably already fed lies? When it comes to Mars, we've remote viewed Mars. There are humans on Mars. You know, of course, everybody's in the planet for the most part, still mining away, and there are reptilian beings on Mars too. And the key takeaway again is that if we look to our mythologies, we can see that they have a lot of reality and truth in them. And this right here is saying, again, NASA says the earliest it could land astronauts on the red planet sometime in the early 2040s. Coincidentally, what we've gotten from the Anunnaki themselves that came through when Cindy was channeling, she would not go obviously fully under and let those beings control her, is that's when they plan to be back, is the early 2040s. Yeah, coincidentally, another coincidence that's not really a coincidence. And by the way, as we've stated many other times too, that visit when everybody went down to Antarctica, you know, the Pope went down there, the head of the Eastern Orthodox Church went down there, many top politicians from different nations went down there. They met with the bosses, and that's who the bosses are. When we look at the controllers on this planet, that's who they answer to.
Right. Well, they call themselves, you know, we are the God of your Bible. So they really do look at us like we're here for them to herd and control.
Yeah, and we are going to go into, I'm going to start doing on a regular basis some of the Sumerian, Akkadian myths and read from some of these books. Many of you might have read the Atrahasis, or you might be familiar with the flood story or some of it, but we're going to go into some of the other ones, and we'll go and cover them in depth, because when you start to listen to them and really hear what they're saying, it becomes very, very evident. And our reality is much, much more like a sci-fi horror film than most people understand.
It's pretty difficult to swallow. It's a really, really jagged pill, and we do our best to lay it out so that it's kind of palatable.
Absolutely. Because the bigger picture is, too, we have the choice to say, no, we don't want to have anything to do with you guys. And we're not buying your story. We're not drinking your Kool-Aid. And we're not going to put that Kool-Aid in other places either.
No.
Absolutely. As always, guys, please do share your comments. Let's hear what you guys are thinking. Share your suggestions, too. What do you guys want to hear more of? What do you want to go deeper into topic-wise? I do also intend on going into a lot more detail on each one of these quote-unquote deities, as, you know, one of the things that comes up time and time again, and it's natural because it's crossed my mind and many other people's minds, is the similarities through the different mythologies of certain beings. But again, history has been rewritten by the victors. So they want to create these distortions, and we'll go a lot deeper into that as well.
Indeed.
As always, guys, may you be blessed by the creator of this universe and the source of all things. Namaste.
Namaste.